stop everything. Stop scrolling. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a juicy reality TV rumor, it's a full-blown emotional earthquake that has ripped through the heart of Hollywood and left fans gasping. Kandi Burruss, the unstoppable powerhouse, the woman who seemed untouchable, finally broke. Why? Because the truth she's been hiding, the lies she's been swallowing, the betrayal she's been forced to endure for years. It's all coming out now. Can you imagine finding out that your marriage, the life you've built, the family you fought for, was standing on a house of cards? Can you imagine the man you trusted with everything living a double life, spinning secrets so deep they could topple entire careers? Todd Tucker, her husband, her partner, the man the world thought was loyal, has been hiding a reality so shocking it's almost unreal. And Kandi, strong, poised, flawless Kandi, has finally said, "I can't hide anymore." Millions are watching. Fans are screaming. Social media is exploding. And the real question is, are you ready to see the betrayal, the lies, the explosive secrets that have been locked behind closed doors for years? Because what you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew about Kandi, Todd, and the life they pretended to live. Brace yourself. The storm has just begun. From the very first moment, whispers of tension have been swirling around Kandi and Todd's marriage. On camera, they were the picture of perfection: smiles, red carpet appearances, lavish vacations, but behind the scenes, cracks were forming that no amount of reality TV editing could hide. Sources close to the couple, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because, as they said, no one survives the Burruss-Tucker inner circle without consequences, revealed that Kandi had been quietly suspicious for years. Trips Todd claimed were business meetings? Always a bit too long. Phone calls he said were with producers? Often at odd hours. Perfume she didn't recognize on his clothes. Tiny, subtle things that, if anyone else noticed, would seem inconsequential, but not to Kandi. She felt the unease like a sixth sense screaming that something was off, and it wasn't just intuition. Over time, the signs stacked up like dominoes, each one falling silently, but loudly enough for someone paying attention to notice. Todd had a history and alleged pattern of charm, manipulation, and secrecy that stretched back before their wedding. People who worked with him described a man who knew how to present the perfect face to the world while keeping a shadow life hidden behind closed doors. And here's where it gets sticky. While Kandi was busy building a family, managing her businesses, and keeping a public image of flawless composure, Todd reportedly maintained connections and interactions with people who, according to insiders, shouldn't even be in the same orbit. But Kandi, brilliant, careful, strategic, didn't act recklessly. She observed, she documented, she pieced together what she could from texts, social media cues, and the occasional accidental slip by Todd himself. Friends close to her reported seeing her quietly taking notes, snapping screenshots, and making mental records of behavior that, on the surface, seemed innocuous but, in hindsight, screamed deceit. One source said Kandi wasn't naive. She knew something was brewing. She just didn't know how far it went, and what makes this even more explosive, Todd's pattern wasn't subtle. It was bold, calculated, and shocking in its audacity. Fans may remember the glitzy photo shoots, the staged smiles, the interviews where they gushed about each other. But those were carefully curated narratives, a media-friendly version of a relationship that was quietly cracking under pressure. And Kandi? She played along, like any savvy reality TV star knows to do, hiding her private turmoil behind a mask of charm and humor, until the breaking point came. And the breaking point wasn't a shouting match or a dramatic confrontation captured by the cameras. It was a quiet, devastating realization, years of emotional investment, of protecting a man who promised devotion, had been undercut by a life Todd had built in parallel. The revelation came not through gossip, not through a tip, not through some paparazzi snapshot designed to scandalize. It came through direct, undeniable evidence that left Kandi no choice but to confront reality. And once she confronted it, the consequences rippled outward like shockwaves through water. Every friend, every family member, every colleague had to reckon with the truth that Kandi Burruss, the woman who had built an empire from talent, grit, and sheer willpower, had been living with a partner who was not who he seemed, and yet, the drama doesn't stop at discovery. The real story is the audacity of the deception, the meticulousness with which secrets were hidden, and the emotional toll it took on Kandi. She didn't just feel betrayed. She felt manipulated, controlled, and isolated. The people she trusted, the routines she built to safeguard her home and children, were all entwined in a web she hadn't realized was being spun around her. When insiders spoke to us about her reaction, they didn't describe screaming or confronting in a fit of rage. They described a woman quietly breaking, piece by piece, while maintaining a facade of composure because, as one source put it, Kandi is a master at surviving with grace even when the world is collapsing around her. And that's where the stakes skyrocket. This isn't merely a celebrity divorce story. This is a masterclass in emotional betrayal, media manipulation, and high-stakes personal intrigue. The tension, the secrecy, the double lives, all of it adds a layer of suspense that viewers can feel, almost physically, as the story unfolds. And while fans might wonder, why didn't she just leave sooner? The answer is simple yet tragic. Loyalty to her children, commitment to her family's public image, and a hope, however faint, that the man she loved would change. But people change when they're caught. And Kandi's discovery meant Todd could no longer maintain the illusion. One night, the pieces fell into place. A glance, a message, a detail only Kandi would notice. It confirmed the unthinkable. And at that moment, the script flipped. Kandi Burruss was no longer hiding. She couldn't hide. Not anymore. The moment Kandi realized the full extent of Todd's deception, everything changed. She couldn't just watch quietly anymore. The illusion was shattered, and the weight of years of secrets crashed down with terrifying clarity. Sources close to the situation revealed that she spent nights replaying conversations, revisiting trips, decoding vague excuses, anything that could shed light on what had been happening behind her back. And what she uncovered wasn't small. It was a meticulously orchestrated double life that would make even the most seasoned reality TV audience gasp. According to insiders, Todd had cultivated relationships, hidden communications, and clandestine meetings that spanned months, even years. It wasn't a what-I mistake, said an anonymous friend. This was a lifestyle he led, and he thought no one would ever catch on. From lavish dinners at undisclosed locations to carefully deleted messages and burner phones, every move was calculated. Kandi's patience, intelligence, and relentless attention to detail finally brought the truth into sharp focus. What she saw, what she confirmed for herself, was the betrayal that would become the catalyst for her eventual divorce. Public reaction, even in these early stages, was explosive. Fans and critics alike began connecting dots that weren't previously visible. Social media platforms erupted with speculation, while memes and hashtags started trending almost instantly. The whisper network among reality TV insiders was buzzing. Kandi is done. Todd can't hide it anymore. This is going to blow up. And indeed, it did. One particularly scandalous leak, an anonymous tipster claiming to have screenshots of Todd's hidden conversations, sent shockwaves through celebrity gossip circles. Allegedly, these messages revealed not only flirtations, but a carefully hidden network of manipulation, suggesting that Todd's actions weren't just casual, they were premeditated. The layers of deception were astounding. Todd had, according to insiders, managed to compartmentalize his life so thoroughly that it appeared seamless to anyone not watching closely. Meetings with friends and family, carefully timed public appearances, and a perfectly curated social media presence masked what one source called a shocking level of duplicity. Meanwhile, Kandi, ever observant and resilient, had begun to build her own dossier. Every suspicious event, every unexplained absence, every subtle inconsistency was cataloged, forming a picture of betrayal that was almost cinematic in its scope. But it wasn't just the evidence that made the situation explosive. It was the emotional narrative behind it. Friends described Kandi as a woman balancing the unbearable weight of heartbreak while maintaining an image of composure for her children, her businesses, and the public. She was living in a state of constant vigilance, one insider revealed. She watched him, listened to him, and still had to be the strong one. That kind of tension, it's unbearable. And yet, Kandi endured. She endured because she had to. But enduring doesn't mean she wasn't aware. Every subtle betrayal, every hidden truth, every lie she uncovered only intensified her resolve. Even the broader reality TV community took notice. Colleagues, co-stars, and former collaborators began whispering in private messages, sharing suspicions, and confirming rumors that had circulated for months. People who thought they knew Todd were shocked, said a source who had worked with the couple. The level of secrecy and manipulation? Unbelievable. Meanwhile, viewers and fans were captivated by the unfolding drama. Social media engagement skyrocketed. Every post, every story, every subtle glance in interviews was analyzed, dissected, and debated across platforms, creating a digital storm that amplified the scandal beyond anything reality TV had recently seen. Kandi's confrontation with the truth marked the beginning of a larger cultural conversation about trust, betrayal, and public scrutiny in high-profile relationships. Commentators weighed in, some sympathetic, some critical, but all captivated. And within this whirlwind, Kandi made her intentions clear. She would no longer play by the rules that Todd had set for their marriage. She would expose the truth, not for revenge, but to reclaim control over her life. Sources indicated that she meticulously planned the next steps, ensuring that when the story broke, it would leave no room for denial or misdirect and dot by the time Kandi made her first public statement. The evidence, the public speculation, and the emotional weight had aligned into a perfect storm. Her declaration that she could no longer hide didn't just mark the end of a marriage, it ignited a firestorm of media coverage, online debates, and social commentary. Fans debated her choices, dissected her strategy, and praised her courage. It's not just about divorce, one anonymous source said. It's about exposing a carefully hidden life and reclaiming dignity in the process. The narrative continued to evolve, with each revelation more shocking than the last. Todd's denials, half-apologies, and public statements were scrutinized and contradicted by evidence Kandi revealed. Social media exploded with outrage and support, memes, and reaction videos. Analysts and commentators speculated on the implications not just for their marriage, but for the broader dynamics of trust, celebrity life, and the entertainment industry's fascination with scandal. And through it all, Kandi remained resolute. She was no longer just a reality star caught in the drama of her personal life. She had become a symbol of vigilance, courage, and strategic intelligence. Each revelation added layers to the story, transforming what could have been a typical celebrity divorce into a cautionary tale about deceit, power, and the consequences of hidden lives. The evidence, the leaks, the emotional narrative, they all combined to create a story so compelling that the world couldn't look away. By the end of this phase, the groundwork had been laid. Kandi's exposure of Todd's duplicity wasn't just an act of personal empowerment, it was a signal to fans, insiders, and the public that the truth, no matter how deeply buried, always surfaces. And as rumors continued to circulate and evidence emerged, one fact became undeniable: this was only the beginning of a scandal that would redefine public perceptions, challenge assumptions about celebrity marriages, and elevate Kandi as a force of intelligence, resilience, and uncompromising honesty. The aftermath of Kandi's revelations was immediate and unrelenting. Social media didn't just react, it detonated. Fans, bloggers, and gossip accounts scrambled to piece together the timeline, the messages, the supposed meetings, and the hidden truths that Kandi had uncovered. Hashtags like #KANDI exposed and #Todd Tucker scandal started trending globally within hours. Even casual viewers who had only known Kandi as the composed, unshakable powerhouse of reality TV were now seeing a side of her that was raw, emotional, and unstoppable. Everyone had a theory, everyone had an opinion, but the truth remained: Kandi was done hiding. And the world was watching. Insiders claimed that the moment Kandi decided to speak publicly, Todd's world began to unravel. His carefully curated public image, built over years of reality TV appearances and social charm, was crumbling before his eyes. Friends revealed that he had become increasingly defensive, scrambling to cover up inconsistencies, erase messages, and explain away suspicious activities. It was panic mode, one anonymous source said. He knew that Kandi had the receipts, the proof, and the timing all perfectly aligned. There was no way out this time. The public, naturally, wasn't gentle. Comment sections filled with disbelief, outrage, and support for Kandi. Memes painted Todd as the ultimate villain, while reaction videos dissected every facial expression from interviews and public appearances. Even celebrities joined the conversation, weighing in on social media with cryptic statements that fueled the fire. Meanwhile, Kandi's own posts, subtle but pointed, kept the spotlight firmly on her terms. She was no longer just responding, she was controlling the narrative, and that control only amplified the scandal. Legal experts speculated, anonymously of course, about potential ramifications. Was there a breach of contract, evidence of manipulation, or even financial mismanagement hidden in plain sight? Theories spread like wildfire. Some claimed that divorce proceedings were already underway behind closed doors, with lawyers quietly gathering evidence for settlements that could shock even the most jaded reality TV followers. The notion of Todd's lifestyle, allegedly funded and maintained through deception, raised questions about assets, hidden accounts, and misappropriated funds. Every revelation had a ripple effect, and insiders hinted that the fallout could affect not just Kandi and Todd, but anyone who had been complicit in maintaining the illusion of a perfect marriage. Public reactions were mixed, but the intensity was undeniable. Fans took sides almost immediately. Some championed Kandi, praising her courage, her intelligence, and her refusal to let years of manipulation continue unchecked. Others, more skeptical, questioned why she had waited so long or why she hadn't confronted the issue privately. But no one could argue with the results. Kandi had exposed a web of deception so carefully it required strategic brilliance to uncover. Anonymous social media accounts flooded with speculation about what would happen next, who would speak out, and whether Todd could survive the public scrutiny. The emotional toll on Kandi was immense, yet her resilience shone through. Sources close to her revealed that she was taking each day carefully, balancing her responsibilities as a mother, businesswoman, and now a whistleblower of personal scandal. Every post, every statement, every subtle move was calculated. She understood the stakes not just for herself, but for the public's understanding of reality TV marriages, celebrity culture, and the hidden dynamics that often go unnoticed behind cameras. She's not just exposing Todd, said one insider. She's exposing a system, a pattern, a culture that allows deception to thrive in plain sight. Meanwhile, Todd's allies began to distance themselves, some quietly, others publicly. Statements were issued, but they rang hollow. Some media outlets suggested that his credibility had taken an irreversible hit and that even reality TV audiences were losing patience with the facade he had maintained for so long. Sources claimed that private conversations within industry circles were full of shock and disbelief. "People can't believe he did this," one source whispered. And now, everyone knows. There's no hiding anymore. Amid the chaos, Kandi continued to rise not just emotionally, but strategically. She engaged with fans selectively, letting the story unfold naturally while ensuring that key details remained in the spotlight. Each revelation added pressure, not just on Todd, but on anyone associated with the deception. Hypothetical scenarios circulated online, resignations from business partnerships, public apologies, even legal investigations into financial misconduct. The potential fallout was massive, and Kandi's decision to go public meant she was now firmly in control. By the end of this explosive chapter, the narrative had become undeniable. Kandi's courage, intelligence, and strategic execution had transformed what could have been a private heartbreak into a public reckoning. Todd's carefully constructed life of secrecy and manipulation was laid bare, and the consequences were still unfolding. The emotional, social, and professional ramifications would continue to resonate, not just for the couple, but for everyone watching the saga unfold in real time. And just when it seemed like the story might settle, whispers of new evidence, fresh leaks, and behind-the-scenes confrontations hinted that the scandal was far from over. Kandi had taken the first monumental step in reclaiming her life, her narrative, and her truth, but the world knew one thing for certain: reality TV would never be the same again. The firestorm she ignited was just the beginning, and fans, insiders, and critics were all on the edge of their seats, waiting for the next explosive chapter. Kandi had exposed Todd, she had reclaimed her power, and the world was watching every move, waiting for every reaction, and speculating on every possible outcome. The divorce, the fallout, the public scrutiny, it was only the beginning of a story that would redefine not just their lives, but the very concept of celebrity truth, betrayal, and exposure. And through it all, Kandi remained the unshakable center, a woman who refused to be silenced, and a force whose next move would shake the reality TV world to its core. So, what happens next? That's the question on everyone's lips, and it's exactly why you cannot scroll past this video. Kandi has dropped the bomb, exposed the betrayal, and now the world is watching as the fallout explodes in real time. But here's the truth. This story isn't just about Todd, Portia, or even reality TV drama. It's about power, control, secrets, and finally, the courage to take back your life when the world thinks you're just a pawn in someone else's game. Now it's your turn. Who do you believe? Team Kandi, the woman who stood up to deception and refused to be silenced, or the man who thought he could hide his double life forever? Drop your comments below and make your voice heard. Smash that like button if you're ready to see the truth fully exposed. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, because the next shocking reveal is coming, and trust me, you do not want to miss it. Share this video with everyone you know who lives for celebrity drama, because when Kandi takes the next step, tempers will flare, secrets will erupt, and the truth will burn hotter than ever. This saga is far from over, and you'll want to be here when it hits.